Greetings from Tokyo. This is Daisuke, and I hope all of you are doing very well today. Continuing with my discussion of the television works directed by Dario Argento, let me next speak to you about an episode he did for The Masters of Horror. This is from Series 1, and here is the box of the DVD set that I have from The Masters of Horror. And the episode that I'd like to talk to you very briefly today, if I may, is the episode called Jenifer. So Jenifer is an hour-long episode that was directed by Dario Argento, and it is in English, and it stars Steven Weber, and it's a very curious episode about obsession and sexual obsession with a young woman who is physically deformed, but who has some kind of allure or power over men that seems to extend beyond sort of normal sexual attraction and seems to go into the realm of real sexual perversion. And or perhaps not even sexual perversion is the right phrase. I think it goes into a real sense of sexual obsession to the point of horror and violence. So that is the episode of Jenifer in a nutshell. And so let me just, again, be very brief here. And I don't want to spoil it. So if you haven't seen the episode Jenifer, I urge you to stop this video now and come back at any time after you've seen it, or if you don't mind being spoiled, and then we can talk about specific details with respect to this very interesting episode of Dario Argento's television work, Jenifer. Okay, so this is a very bloody episode. There's a lot of sex, there's a lot of violence, as you know, and it is, I would say it's one where I admire what he's trying to do. I admire what Argento's trying to do. He's really trying to get at a certain shock level that is, I would say, beyond something that is just for the sake of shock. I think he's trying to get at something which is maybe something that is towards the heart of real sexual drive. Right? I think he's trying to get at the heart of what makes a guy tick, so to speak, when it comes to when he encounters a woman that he just simply can't get out of his mind. And I think as a result of that, not only do we have flashes of real bloody violence, we also get these real uncomfortable scenes. We get these scenes of real psychological horror, and it's very uncomfortable. We also get very graphic scenes involving sexuality, involving sex. Not only do we see scenes of sex that are portrayed on screen, but we also see a lot of, there are shots of kind of close-ups of anatomy, which I think are very shocking. And in fact, the DVD set that I have here has a making of documentary. And in fact, I think the documentary includes footage that ended up being cut from the final version. And the footage is very interesting because actually it's very graphic. It goes into graphic detail about Jenifer and how she is basically she's basically eating the privates of a young boy, and you actually see the result of the mutilation, and it's actually quite graphic. And so that stuff is shown in the documentary, but it's actually, I don't think it's included in the final version of the film, of the TV episode. You can tell there's a little bit excised from the final TV version, although the scene itself is there. So this is very gross. It's really gross stuff. And so I think this series, Masters of Horror, tends to be like that. There's a lot of over-the-top grossness. And if it works, it works. And I have nothing necessarily against that kind of portrayal of horror. But I'm not sure. I think for me, I think this is one that is, it's okay. It's not terrible. It's okay, but it's something that I feel, I don't know, maybe it's something that there's a lot of shock and a lot of spectacle. And while I sense there is some kind of effort at exploration of this angle of human sexuality that perhaps we haven't seen from Argento before, nevertheless, I think overall as a grand guignol kind of spectacle, it shocks so much to the point where it almost turns me off. So I don't dislike the episode, but it's just I have to admit this is not always my cup of tea, and I think it's just because maybe it's just too disturbing for me. Who knows? It is quite a disturbing work in terms of the story. So there is a lot going on there that potentially could be very exciting for a horror film fan or a horror fan in general. And I know many people who are horror fans really love this episode and this series. So I don't mean to offend any of you out there who might be very fond of this episode, but this is just my own personal opinion, and that I don't want to take it away for your enjoyment from you. I would say Steven Weber has a really nice performance. He's not the most sympathetic character in the world, but he does make mistakes, and I think he is not completely unsympathetic either, and I think that has a lot to do with the strength of his performance. And I think that gives us a kind of a focus that we can follow as the story progresses or devolves, and it really it spirals out of control in no time, and so it really has a kind of fall from grace type of element to it. So that is something to recommend it, I suppose. But in the end, I would say that for me, it's maybe good. It's not great. It's good at best. So yes, so that is Jenifer, and that is a very bloody episode of the Masters of Horror, as directed by Dario Argento. Okay, my friends, let me end it there. These television works videos are going to be rather short, so I will continue with more discussion of the television works of Dario Argento, as directed by Dario Argento. Until we meet again, my dear friends, please be well, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Cheers.